Hello, everybody. This is our first of web interview series looking into the situation of migrants during this time of the COVID-19 pandemic. And for the first episode, we are with Pervez Siddiqui, the Executive Director of Films for Peace Foundation, to talk about the situation of Bangladeshi migrants during this time. So, hello, Pervez. How are you doing?
Hello, Ray. I think in Bangladesh, this is good afternoon. Uh, we are fine. Thank you so much for organizing this such a wonderful webinar interview web series. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Okay.
APMM, for covering Bangladeshi migrant situation during COVID-19 pandemic.
So dive right into the question. So the first question that I have for you, Pervez, is what are the challenges faced by Bangladeshi migrants during this time of the COVID-19 pandemic? Maybe you can share about the situation of those who are still overseas and those who have returned.
Thank you, Ray. The situation of Bangladeshi migrants, especially after the COVID-19 pandemic, is really so vulnerable at this moment. You know that about more than 1 crore. That means 100 uh, 12 million Bangladeshis are 12 million Bangladeshis working overseas, and most of the Bangladeshis working in the Middle East countries. That is, in Saudi Arabia we have 2 million, in UAE we have 1 million Bangladeshi, and in Kuwait we have about half million Bangladeshis working, and also in Qatar and in Bahrain, Oman, number of Bangladeshis working. The situation is very vulnerable in Kuwait, especially first Kuwait government, make pressure to the Bangladesh government to force return of the Bangladeshi vulnerable migrants, especially who are in status, in illegal status, that is who their visa status is over in February or something like that. They are not renewing this kind of migrants, and also who are in prison as a detention center and something like that. So thousands and thousands Bangladeshis, they are forcing to return to the Bangladesh. That is we have a latest situation in Kuwait, and in Saudi Arabia, that about 2 million Bangladeshis working in Saudi Arabia. Before the COVID-19, the situation of Bangladeshi migrants in Saudi Arabia was not good, because a number of Bangladeshi migrants, they are losing their jobs. They also they are becoming illegal in status. So after the pandemic of COVID-19, the Bangladeshis, this jobless or losing jobs, and the other problem is increased dramatically. At that time Bangladesh government initiated a little bit, about uh, in 8 crore Bangladeshi taka they provided to accommodate or to provide support for the Bangladeshi migrants, which is really insufficient for the Bangladeshi peoples, especially the migrants, because in Saudi Arabia there is a 2 million. So that means each migrants, the allocation is just 8 BDT taka. That means point point 8 cents according to dollar for the per migrants, because we have so the situ, and also the due to corruption, this food relief also not reach to the migrants family or migrants door. In the meantime, it was happened that migrants are complaining that they did not receive any single food relief from the Bangladesh embassy in the destination countries. But in Jordan, that is most of the Bangladeshi female migrants, they're living in Jordan because they're working most as a domestic help or garments. they in Jordan and Bangladesh embassy providing a little bit good relief, food relief, something like that. But for the UAE, for the Saudi Arabia, and for the Kuwait, the situation is very bad, and the assistance from the government is insufficient, and that's why um, when I was talking with the migrants, they informed me that they do not have any information, proper information about COVID-19 and how many people are affected, how many people are dying. They do not have any information. And only source they can comment on the social media, that is Facebook or WhatsApp. And recently, 5 countries from the Middle East countries, they pressure to the Bangladesh government to return these illegal migrants or who lost their jobs or something like that. So this is another burden for the Bangladesh government that this month in April, Bangladesh government, the Minister for the Foreign Affairs, he declared that 28,000 Bangladeshi migrants will return in May. During this COVID, special airlines will be hired to repatriate these migrants from the destination countries, especially in UAE and Kuwait and Saudi Arabia. So, about more than 400 Bangladeshis already died, and more than 5 to 6,000 Bangladeshis, infected globally. But most of the migrants who died, basically, they are living in USA, not in Middle East. Middle East death rate is quite low rather than USA. That is the situation of Bangladeshi migrants. I think a number of people, and also the who are doing business. Last 2 months they do not very limited. Some people who are doing shopping, they have shop or something, little shop. They can open for the very limited time. They can open the shop, but there is no customer to buy any single items from their phone. So they are also facing some vulnerable, according to you said, that for the economical reason. And that is the at a glance about the migrant situation, Bangladeshi migrant situation in the Middle East, and also the other countries. And who returned from the during this time, basically we asked Bangladesh government to inform us who is returning and how many people are returning every day or within a month. But still now there is no database, and we do not know who is from which district in Bangladesh. So particularly those who are returning, they have to now Bangladesh government, ensuring the isolation, 14 days isolation. But from the civil society and media, we do not have any proper information from the Bangladesh government, and Bangladesh military also looking after these returning migrants. So we are demanding Bangladesh government that we want to know that who is coming and what is their situation, and what should Bangladesh government is doing for these migrants who are vulnerable and return forcibly from the Middle East countries. Thank you. So Bangladesh government basically they are now they are taking responsibility to return the migrants, and also they are communicating with IOM, those migrants who are to share something, money for to return these migrants, and the Guardian reported yesterday that Bangladeshi migrants, they are begging in the street in the Qatar. Okay, so the situation is really very vulnerable, and that's why there is a huge report in Guardian reported in the Bangladeshi migrants in the Qatar who is begging for the to survive over there because they lost their jobs, and last couple of weeks and months they do not have any single penny to buy something like that. So Bangladesh government, what they did, Bangladesh government declare, to provide assistance when they'll return, 5,000 BDD taka. That means about $70 to $80. Who return from the destination countries, they will provide in the airport to go to their home as a transport cost. And those who needs money to do some after the pandemic, something like that, to survive or as a reputation. Bangladesh government is thinking that they provide, very low interest loan to the, vulnerable migrants who return from the destination countries. Um, uh, and they are also thinking that Bangladesh government is thinking that they inform to the, press conference that they are thinking about the future job market of the Bangladeshi migrants, so that after the pandemic, migrants will get job return or something, that they will go easily to the destination countries. So that was the prompt initiatives taken by the Bangladesh government. And also they provided a little bit, that I mentioned earlier, that the food relief to the destination countries, which is very insufficient for the migrants. And Bangladeshi migrants in Kuwait, they complain against the Bangladesh embassy food relief system, or provide providence, that there is too insufficient, and very few migrants that inform us that they got food relief from the Bangladesh embassy. So number of people, they're complaining, that Bangladesh embassy are not providing, enough food relief in the destination countries. Except we found very positive news in Jordan. So they are providing very good number of Bangladeshi food. So that was the situation, response to the Bangladesh government for the Bangladeshi migrants. But in the meantime, there is a change in Bangladesh government. That last couple of days ago, the Secretary of Expatriate Ministry, he was transferred to the Railway Ministry. So additional secretary, he was promoted as a secretary for the Expatriate Ministry. So I don't know why in this situation, why government needs to change the secretary in this pandemic. I think this new secretary will act more promptly for the migrants, for their protection and for their human rights. Film for Peace Foundation, from the beginning, we as we are expert in awareness campaign, from the beginning we try to provide information about COVID-19 and how to protect themselves from the corona or COVID-19. So we design number of awareness materials, especially for the social media. So we try to that they also mentioned that they have only information channel is social media. So we provided information to the social media from the Peace Foundation, and especially Film for Peace Foundation has a online platform for the migrants. Now more than 400 migrants are connected to this online platform. So we are providing everyday information related to COVID and their problems, and what is they are looking for, their challenges, everything we are sharing information and through this platform. And from yesterday we started a online broadcasting platform, that what is their situation present, to directly communicate with the migrants, connecting with the migrants, and it will broadcast to our pages, also their platform page, Facebook page, and also through our personal. So we are covering huge. And as Bangladesh Civil Society Forum on Migration is a very great initiative by the leading civil society organizations who are working for the migrants' rights protection in Bangladesh. This is the only strong network in Bangladesh, especially leading organizations like Ramru, Manushir Jono Foundation, Warbi Development Foundation, Film for Peace Foundation, BOMSA, and too many 16 leading organizations who are the active members of this network, and they're basically executive members. So from the beginning, we first we first go with a statement to the Prime Minister of Bangladesh for for the protection of Bangladeshi migrant workers. So we drafted this statement and we submitted to the Prime Minister through our ministry and also other channels. And it was also published to the national newspapers hugely. And also we also published from civil society statement for the migrants. It was also published in newspapers. Later, we divided 4 groups to work for the to advocacy in district level, that is community level, and also international level and national level. And one is to the protection of our staff who are working to support these migrants in the community. For their safety and guidance. So for the international, we provided we write a letter to the General Secretary of United Nations that to protect our migrants who are vulnerable in their destination countries. Especially, I mentioned that for the Middle East countries, because Middle East countries, they are forcing Bangladesh governments to return our Bangladeshi migrants. So this is inhuman and unethical. So we are appealing to the UN Secretary Generals, to protect Bangladeshi migrants in destination countries, including all migrants who are vulnerable. And in the community level, our one team is working hard and soon. So in district commission, deputy commission of the community level, we are providing letter to the commission, district deputy commissioner, so that when they will provide food to the mass people, they should consider also migrants who are vulnerable, so the migrants will not, deprived from the food reliefs in the community level. So and also we are we are developing common information campaign, all 16 organizations, so that we will aware or educate migrants and their families about the COVID-19. So that is that we are doing, and we are every weeks we are through online platform, we have a meeting and we will decide and we will act. So this is basically Bangladesh Civil Society on Migration. It was formed in 2016 when GFMD Global Forum on Migration was held in Dhaka, Bangladesh, and then all civil society who are working on migration, they formed this committee to first act for the Global Forum on Migration, and later we continue this network to work for the protection of migrant worker rights in Bangladesh. Thank you, Ray.
Thank you, Pervez. That is very helpful information for us. We look forward to a better response, not only from the Bangladeshi government, but also from the destination country governments, in looking into the situation of our Bangladeshi migrant brothers and sisters and how they can actually help in alleviating their situation, especially during this pandemic and even after. So thank you very much again, Pervez.
I have one question that
Yes.
for the international advocacy that and yesterday we have discussed with our platform that I think APMM can support us to do national and global, regional and global advocacy for the protection. So we have developed a common, statement from the Bangladesh Civil Society. So we'll share with APMM so that APMM can support us, where Bangladeshi migrants are invulnerable. I think APMM can support us to protect Bangladeshi migrants in regionally and globally. Thank
Yes,
you.
we will definitely do that. And let's keep in touch. We know that this is still a long fight to continue, but we will hope to be victorious in the end. Thank you once again, Pervez, and looking forward
Thank
to
you
seeing
so
you
much.
again.
Thank you for your great work.